and 4 long blue arms.
The Loch Ness Monster.
From outer space.
Maybe he just wants to massacre him.
The one out there and kill him.
Wipe them out! All of them! To the very last man! Violence. Brutality.
Trick-or-treaters are all dead. Isn't it beautiful? Take a walk in the cemetery. Get eaten up by cannibals.
Celebrate Halloween.
Love and kisses, Penny baby.
What is going on? Good evening on this chilly and rainy Tuesday night here in Jersey. But it's nice to actually have some cool, crisp fall weather. We haven't really had that at all this fall up until, I guess, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday was probably the first somewhat cold day we've had. I guess I can't say I'm really complaining. I was enjoying like the very mild fall we were having. You know, we were days in like 75 degrees. So, you know, rather comfortable at the end of the day. So we're going to do a quick stream tonight. We're going to just keep it simple. Go to the basics. Old school thrash. And I want to talk about the band I had played before, Holy Terror. Interesting band. Underrated band, a band a lot of metalheads don't really even know about. They came onto the scene out in LA back in like 1987, 1988. They put out 2 albums back to back, 87, 88. I think were actually album years for both those guys. For both those years rather. And singer Keith Dean, who sadly passed away about a decade ago from cancer. Just a really unique voice. And with that, like, Bay Area thrashy sound, like, from the band, it was a thrash metal band like you haven't heard before. And maybe that's why they didn't really catch on. It's because they kind of went a different route with their thrash. But in my opinion, it worked really well. Yes, Devils are New Jersey's like last real sports teams. We have the Red Bulls for soccer, and they're actually usually a decent team. But ever since the Nets left Jersey, really the Devils have been all we have. So let's be fucking honest, all right? Not that I want the Jets, but the Jets are a New Jersey team, and so are the fucking Giants. Both their headquarters are in New Jersey. They both fucking play in New Jersey. They just they needed the market, so they attached New York to the teams, where the teams have absolutely nothing to do with New York. They're both New Jersey teams. But you know, there's only 2 albums. Only 2 albums. They tried to get back together in like the mid 2000s. It just didn't work. And there is a 3rd album. It's like a really weird compilation of their first 2 albums and like maybe some unreleased tracks or something. I don't know. But definitely a very unique and underrated band. The next band, however, is not unique and underrated. They are thrash legends. They really do not need any introduction. Now, I'm not huge into this band. I actually only recently started listening to them. I'm not sure why. I never, like, dug myself into a couple of their albums to where I was, like, hooked. But recently, I started listening to them, and, like, I'm mad that it took me this long to get into them. This band and Sodom as well. Took me a long time to get into them, and it shouldn't have. But I, of course, talking about the Mighty Creator. And they just put out a new album, and that album is fucking just stupid good. And we're going to check out the title track, the single off that album, called Hate über alles.
Crucified
Was off their second album from 1986. Off the Pleasure to Kill album. Solid album. Probably their best album. In my opinion. And again, I'm not the biggest Creator fan yet. I really gotta just sit down and just like hammer out their discography. But I really do like that album. Now, before we leave Deutschland here, let's check out another thrash, German thrash legend, Destruction. They put out an album this year as well, and man, it was a banger year for metal. I'll tell you. Now, Destruction I do know pretty well. I got into Destruction years ago, before my buddy Chris passed away. He had gotten me into Destruction, and it was one of the only shows that me and him went to together. It was at the Highline Ballroom in Manhattan. Long time ago. But man, fucking killer show. We had a lot of fun. So let's check out the title track off their 2022 release. Destruction are to German thrash metal what Exodus is to American thrash metal. They were the first. And very few did it better than them. Now there was a period of time, oh God, the mid '90s, mid '90s till yeah, about the mid '90s. And there were a couple albums. There's 4 albums. That Schmier, who's the founder and lead singer of Destruction, it's his band. There were 4 albums, right? Oh, there was that other singer too. There was Rosenmerkel, and then there was another album. God, I don't even. There was one album before Rosenmerkel, and then 3 Rosenmerkel albums. Thomas Rosenmerkel, and I just don't even listen to him. And then Schmier came back in 2000, and then just like we had Destruction back, and they just every 1 to 2 or so years they put out an album. Like they were, man, they are really consistent with how much music they put out. So yeah, if Schmier is singing on the album, check it out. Basically anything from 1990ish to 2000, just ignore that they did. So let's come back to America. Let's leave Germany right now. Even though I'm drinking American beer, but it is brewed in a very traditional German style. My favorite beer. Of course, talking about Yingling. But let's take it back to America. Let's take it back to the mid 80s here. And we're gonna take it back to Jersey. Now, the album's just, it's not that he was bad. Like, he's not a bad singer per se. It's just that you got so used to what Schmier sounded like. Put it this way. When David Lee Roth left Van Halen, and obviously Sammy Hagar came in, a lot of Van Halen fans couldn't do it. They couldn't listen to it. David Lee Roth is so unique. He has such a voice and a presence about him. Like, there's nobody is going to be able to match and replicate that. Now, I'm not saying Sammy Hagar is a bad singer. He is not a bad singer. But that's not Van Halen. That's Van Hagar. It's a completely different band, in my opinion, and in the opinion of most true Van Halen fans. It's the same thing with Destruction. Thomas Rosenmerkel is not a bad singer, but it's not fucking Destruction. We're going to take it back mid-80s here. Now, Jersey is known for a bit of thrash, you know. Anthrax, though, I guess Anthrax was a New York band. Right? What was Anthrax? Anthrax was Brooklyn? I think so. They weren't Jersey. But, I mean, you know, the area. I think they were Brooklyn. But we did have the mighty Overkill, which we might play a little later. And that was about it. Now, real old school thrash guys will remember other Jersey 80s thrash legends like Blood Feast, who are still around. They are still touring. They're actually playing, I think, a South American show. It might be this week or this weekend with fucking Hyrax and a few other cool bands. So, I love that. It's another band Chris got me into, Blood Feast. But we're going to take it to a band I know a little bit more about. And that is mighty New Jersey native Death Thrash. Now, these guys have been around since 1985, 1986. And they play some really traditional thrash metal. And they never made it big. Like, and it wasn't until fucking like the mid 2000s ish that they finally put out like, I guess you would call it an extended EP, because it wasn't a full length album, and it had a bunch of demos on it, and it had a bunch of live songs on it, but it's still a fantastic album through and through. And I've seen Death Thrash live a couple of times, and I love seeing them live. They're so much fun, so much energy. And they are making new music. I'm looking forward to that. I actually got to hear some of their new music the last time I saw them live, about a year ago. So hopefully we get some more news on that new music. But right now we're gonna do a threefer from one of my favorite thrash metal bands that just happens to be from New Jersey. So this is off their only real album ever released, Thrash Beyond Death.
Once more, into the pits, cause we have fucking buried alive in the drilling on living now that it's your end. You know it won't be very long before you feel your soul descend. Your breath is fast off the kitchen, your hair is running out. Easily the thing is all of that, there is no doubt. You blow at the lid, but once it at your eyes, because of what you did, you fucking buried alive. Burn your fucking heads. Taking all the shore about to fucking die. The air is not the one they feed, scraping you outside. Eating air with justice, not to get what you deserve. Buried alive like a skin, justice has served. You fire at the lid, the world's in your eyes, because of what you did. You're buried a fucking alive!
We ain't gonna leave Jersey just yet. So, I said I got the chance to meet some Overkill by accident, and it was all because me and Mungus were at the movie theater, and I was talking about the most recent Overkill album at the time. That is not a very highly regarded album, let's put it that way. And I was telling him how most fans weren't really digging the album, but I didn't think it was that bad. Long story short, guys in front of me, Herbie, turned around. They said, wow, you actually like Immortalis? And I go, yeah, I actually enjoy that album pretty, a good deal. Guy whipped out his phone and he called up fucking Dee Dee. He goes, I gotta tell Dee Dee I met someone who actually likes this album. And then we talked for a little while longer, and it was a really cool experience. They were super nice. But they still couldn't believe that someone actually liked this album. Now, this is going back to 2007. I don't remember who I met. Obviously, it wasn't Blitz, and it wasn't Dee Dee. It was either Dave Links, Derek Taylor, or no, it was probably those two. I don't think it was Ron Lipnicki. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Ron Lipnicki. I'm pretty sure it was Dave and Derek, the two guitarists. But regardless, we're going to play my favorite track off that particular album, 2007's Immortalis. Now, there's really not a lot of good songs on this album, but I do like it a lot. Very much like Slayer's God Hates Us All. Most Slayer fans, and I'm actually not a Slayer fan, I hate Slayer, but I actually really do enjoy that album. Most Slayer fans hate that album. I think it's a fantastic album. Fucking sue me. But Immortalis has a lot of really good songs. Devils in the Mist, What It Takes, Walk Through Fire, I think is a really good song. But we're going to play my favorite track off that album, and that's called Skull and Bones. This album deviated a lot from what fans had come to expect from Overkill, which is why they just weren't going for it. I mean, I get it. You know, I'm not gonna rag on someone. It's like, oh, what, you don't like fucking Immortalis because it just sounds a little different? It's a great album. Like, no, I understand. Look, there are bands and albums where I feel very similar. But this one, I don't know, this one just worked for me. You know, just like God Hates Us All, I really like that album. Despite not even being a big Slayer fan, I like that album. For Ozzy, it was The Ultimate Sin. That is typically considered one of Ozzy's worst albums, but I think it's like one of his better albums. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I have Ozzy colored glasses on at most times, just because I've seen Ozzy probably close to 100 times between Solo and Sabbath. So he can do almost no wrong. Ordinary Man was a really bad album, and it had 2 good tracks on it, and those were the 2 singles. That was it. Fucking Under the Graveyard and Ordinary Man, the ballad he did with fucking Elton John. Like, the only 2 good songs on the album. And they're 2 really good songs. Like, they're 2 of the best songs he's ever written. But how about we go back to California? Late 80s. 1989, 1990. It's a good time. I sort of remember. I was really young, but like I could remember bits and pieces of the real early 90s. You know what? Once we hit like the 2000s and maybe like the really early 10s, we looked back and we're like, man, 90s sucked. Now, in the 20s, we're looking back and we're like, man, the 90s fucking ruled. We need that back. But we're going to have to make do. Have to make do. And just pretend that here now, in 2022, that everything is lovely.
Lovely. La 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 lovely. Screwed up people everywhere, but I ain't got time to care. I feel lovely. La la lovely. Oh, oh. though I'm trying. I try so hard to do what's right, to be so good, to make you proud, but never seems to satisfy you. It's just the person that you want is not the person that I am. The confidence side's all the lying. I want so much for you to think of me as a person that deserves your respect and attention. I wonder if I'll ever do the things you want the way you want when I don't even know what I want yet. It's not that I'm rebelling against the person you are, it's just that I don't know who I am. All I know is it hurts so much, how it hurts so God. Do you know where I'm hurting? There's an emotion in me, there's an emotion in me. Emotion number 13. Look into my eyes, you'll see I'm not lying. Emotion number 13. Is he crying? Ask me how I know, but I'm dying. Emotion number 13 blows my mind away. Emotion number 13 it blows me away. Look into my eyes, you'll see I'm lying. Emotion number 13 says I'm. Don't ask me how I know, but I think I'm. Don't ask me how I know, but I think I'm dying. Dying.
So in 1997, thrash pioneers and thrash legends Testament, my favorite band, decided that, I guess it was more like 1996, but the album came out in 1997. They decided that they wanted to try something a little different for their next album. They didn't want to stray too far, you know. They didn't want to abandon thrash completely, because that's who they were, you know. They were fucking Testament. They were legacy. They were thrash legends in the Bay scene. But they figured they had enough of a fan base. They had been around for over a decade at that point. So they figured that they could experiment. Now, this is another one of those albums that's got a lot of fans torn. It is not a bad album. It is not a bad album in any sense of the word. It is not a bad album if you look at it from a sort of an awkward thrash album, And it's not a bad album if you look at it as a death metal album. Because that's what they were going for. They were going for a mixture of thrash metal and death metal. And I don't know if another band has been able to pull off an album as good as this with that particular end game in mind. Demonic is a song, is an album rather, that really does get overlooked in the Testament discography. They don't play any songs live off this album, which is a absolute travesty because they're all good songs. I mean, aside from the final track, Nostrovia, which was just sort of it was really just an outro track. Wasn't meant to be anything more than that. But every other song on this album, fucking banger. And we're going to listen to probably my personal favorite song on the album. And they're all good songs. The Burning Times is one of the baddest fucking songs ever. John Doe is another good one. Together as one. Like, there's not a bad song on this album, and yet it doesn't get any kind of respect or notoriety or playtime anywhere. And I can't fix that, but I'm gonna make sure it gets more playtime whenever I'm dicking around like this. So tonight, we're gonna listen to my favorite track off this album. Hope you dig it. love that song. Love that album. Definitely will be playing way more demonic. Just every time I listen to a song or two from that album, I just remember how much I just fucking love that goddamn album. All right. So as I said, this was going to be a quick stream, but we're not done yet. We're not. we're gonna start winding down the night. Slightly different than how the night has started. So for the last couple of songs, we're going to kind of move away from thrash, but we're staying in the 80s. And there's a reason for this shift in the genres. Friday night, I'm hoping I can get out of the house for a little bit, and not far from where I am, there is a resurrected version of the band I'm about to play, playing live. Now, it's not the same because the lead singer has sadly passed away, but it is a bunch of original members and a new singer who is doing a really good job. I am talking about the band Carnivore. Now, if you don't know who Carnivore is, or you've never heard of Carnivore, that's okay. Carnivore was sort of a niche band, but it helped pave the way for Typo Negative. A lot of people love Typo Negative. But also a lot of those Typo fans don't realize that Carnivore was Peter Steele's first band. And they were a very unique band. Good amount of their stuff was sort of tongue-in-cheek, but they had a sound. It was raw. It was dirty. It was fucking brutal. And, you know, obviously I never got to see Carnivore. They stopped. I don't even think they were together anymore when I was born. I did get to see Typo. And I was never really a big Typo fan, but I always appreciated Peter Steele. I thought the dude had a really, really fresh and cool sound. Because, you know, a lot of his songs he really doesn't sing. He just sort of talks over the songs, but in sort of in a melodic way. And it worked. It really did. So, in hopefully celebration of me seeing Carnivore AD on Friday, let's go back to 1985 and do a twofer from Carnivore's debut album. So this is Carnivore off the album Carnivore, playing the song Carnivore. I love that.
say, I'll take so fine like sweet April wine. I won't trade for any money. If you come, naive and wrong, I live for sodomy. I'm a meeting, I'd like to meet you, like no richer. I'm a meeting, I'd like to meet you, I know I'll reach you, I'd love to eat you. Thermonuclear warrior! Strands of malformed DNA, strangulate our future. Chromosomal executioners. Recessive traits for lifetimes emerge through evolution. Facilitate cellular revolution.
Carnivore is just such it's just one of those bands that just isn't talked about enough. And it's mainly because, you know, Peter Steele, he left Carnivore and obviously went on to form Typo Negative and became legendary at that point. Like Typo was such a huge band for such a long time. Again, not a band I ever got into. I saw them live a few times. Hell, the last time I had a chance to see them live, me and Mungus, we went to a concert to see Lordy. Lordy was opening up for fucking Typo Negative on Halloween night, and me and Mungus went and we saw Lordy. They put on a great show. It was a lot of fun. Lordy went off. We fucking left before Typo even got on the stage. Again, just not one of the bands I ever got into. Now, they're not a bad band. I don't hate them. I do like some of their songs. But at the end of the day, it's just not really for me. So, Carnivore is way better in my opinion. Carnivore was another band that my buddy, again, passed away years ago. Chris, he introduced me to. I had no idea who Carnivore was. I remember we were hanging out and I think we were listening to probably like XM at the time. Probably like Ozzy's Boneyard or something. And a Typo song came on and my friend Chris, kind of scoffed. Fuck. And so he was like, why don't they ever play any fucking Carnivore? I'm like, who the fuck is Carnivore? And then that's, and he told me, and that's where I learned about the band. No worries, man. You come when you can. We'll talk, play some music. If there's something in particular you want to hear and I happen to have it, I'll play it. If not, I will play something close to it. I try to oblige as long as it's something that I can tolerate listening to at the end of the day. I take requests, but only if it's something I also enjoy. But it is getting a little late. I need to get to sleep to myself. I do have work in the morning. Gotta get the kiddos ready. But it's not a yep. Chris, I owe a lot to Chris. But yeah, I did. But we can talk more about that another time. As I said, it is getting late. I know you need to get to bed. I need to get to bed. And we're going to end the stream the way we always end the stream. So thank you, my friend. It was good hanging out with you again, seeing you. I'm glad everything is going good for you. I missed you. I missed doing this. Hopefully more people start coming back. As I said, I streamed twice last week. And one or two people came in one night, that I hadn't seen and talked to for a while. And then one or two different people came in the other night that I hadn't seen and talked to for a while. So hopefully more people just start coming back a little bit. I'm hopefully going to get a little bit of an audience from my other friend's stream who, they like music streams and they like metal. So I'm working on getting some of his audience over here. That would be really cool. He's a really good friend. I actually I was a guest on his stream back in September when I visited him in Florida. That was a lot of fun. And I'm hoping we can do something similar when he comes back to Jersey sooner rather than later. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyway, man, thank you so much. I missed you, brother. And I will be streaming again very, very soon. As I said, I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of it, trying to get back into a routine. Just gotta focus and get locked and loaded.